Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. In a recent interview with PBS's American Masters, actress Halle Berry says seeing black actresses in Hollywood was crucial, having been raised by a white mother. Now, your Halle Berry in this interview talks about how she was struggling to find images of black women to identify with, and talked about how seeing images of Lena Horne in Stormy Weather, seeing Dorothy Dandridge in Carmen Jones, and seeing Diane Carroll in Julia rearranged her, but what she really couldn't see, how these images in media were distorting her perceptions of blackness and making her see black through the lens of white supremacy. Now, your Halle Berry, like many black women out there of that generation, they thought they were seeing images that would have a crucial impact on them as related to showing them a positive image of blackness, but they really did not understand what they were actually seeing was the white supremacist idea of how they perceive black women. So your Halle Berry talks about how these images were so-called crucial, but they were crucial to white supremacy in shaping the black woman's mind to teach her how to hate herself and how to hate her blackness. Because what the white supremacists wanted to do was go out here and try to sell you biracial and light-skinned black women like Lena Horne in Stormy Weather and Dorothy Dandridge in Carmen Jones. Moreover, they wanted to push negative narratives towards black girls like that of the Jezebel and in Carmen Jones, or the tragic or the tragic mulatto as related to Dorothy Dandridge's life. And they also wanted to push narratives like in Julia, pushing the narrative of the black single mother who is supported by these friendly and good white people. This was all social engineering on the black female mind, and your Halle Berry thinks that seeing Diane Carroll being the star of a show where the mother was a nurse and educated and beautiful was one thing, but what they weren't showing us was an image of a successful black woman in a successful black family. And that was social engineering designed to brainwash a generation of young black girls to buy into feminist concepts like being strong and independent and not needing a man. And these were detrimental to the black family, where black women were taught by these kind of shows not to see a black man, as a leader of the home, a protector of the home, a provider for the family, and being in a valuable role as a husband and a father. Now, in these other white shows, like your Leave It to Beaver and many of these other white shows that came on in the 60s and the 70s, we always saw the white father in the home. We saw the white father as a leader. We saw the white father as a head of household. We saw the white father as a businessman who was important and essential to the community. But in a show like Julia, we don't get to see the black man in his role. And sadly, Halle has not really understood how destructive these kinds of shows were and how these images really messed up the minds of young black girls at the time. And she's sitting there thinking about how they didn't have these images, but the reason why we didn't have those images out here is because the white supremacists did not want them in mainstream media. Now, your Halle Berry, she was deprived of those images because she grew up in a household with a white mother, but there were plenty of images of black women out here, and if you lived in a household with a black mother, you saw a lot of those images in magazines like Ebony and Jet and Hue and Tan that were published by Johnson Publications. So there were plenty of images out there of black women in media. Unfortunately, because your Halle Berry did not grow up in a household with a black mother, she didn't get to see any of those images. Moreover, she did not grow up in a culture with other black women. And because she did not grow up in a culture with other black women, she felt like there weren't many images of black women out there. But as somebody who has grown up in the black community, I know that those images are out there for young girls, and those images have always been out there for young girls, because when I would go out here and do research for novels like Spellbound and books like The Thetas, I would find many of those images. And I remember being a teenage boy back in the 80s and finding many of these images of beautiful, successful black women hugged up on successful black men, seeing pictures of black families together. And I didn't need to go to my and even though we had shows like The Cosby Show and Benson on the air, I could see these images practically everywhere, and I saw people like this everywhere. Unfortunately, your Halle Berry, she grew up in a home with a white mother, and she could not see how white supremacy was shaping her mind, and it was white supremacy that got her mind completely messed up to believe, oh, these images of black actresses in Hollywood were crucial to her, but she couldn't see how white supremacy was shaping those images and shaping her perceptions about black women. Because when you understand how this media works, you start to understand how these images have an impact on you. So she's sitting here talking about how these biracial women are her ideas of black, but white supremacy wants you to see biracial women as black because they want you to see the light-skinned woman as their ideal for blackness. And they also want to push narratives like the Carmen Jones one, which is, again, love being a tragedy because black men and black women just can't come together and love each other. Or things like Julia, where you're seeing single mothers and thinking that this is normal for black people. And again, this is social engineering, and sadly, Halle Berry's brain has been socially engineered to think dysfunction is normal. And that was not only by the media, it was also the single mother household, and her being a black child being raised by a white woman. She didn't get those images that I got growing up, and she said finding them through television was crucial, but it wasn't crucial for all of the brothers and sisters out here who grew up with Ebony, Jet, Hugh, Tan, and even many other pulp fiction publications. I mean, the media was always out there. Unfortunately, your Halle Berry didn't know where the media was and didn't even go out to look for that media, because if you say that you are a black child being raised by a white woman, then why didn't you go out here to seek out black media? That's a critical question I would want to ask your Halle Berry, because I've run into many biracial black women out here and black men, and they were raised sometimes by a white or a non-black parent, but they always went out here to go, if they identified as black, they would go out here and look for that kind of media. And that's one of the things that I talked about in my novel Spellbound with the Matilda Crowley character. She's a biracial girl with a white father, but she sees herself as a black woman, and she has all of this black media in the novel. In the beginning, she's listening to Whitney Houston, she's got Bobby Brown posters, she's reading Ebony and Jet, she's got a picture of Dorothy Dandridge on her desk, and she, even though she has a white father, that she comes from a household again with a black mother, and again, the black mother teaches the culture, and if you want that culture, you can go out here and find it. And again, I've heard from people who are biracial say they go out here, and if they want to find it, they go out here and find it. So that really shows me that your Halle Berry, being raised by a white woman, was identifying as white to a point, and she's sitting there again saying that those images weren't in the household. But why didn't her mother try to help her find these images because they were out there for everybody for years? I mean, I knew about Jet's Beauty of the Week, I knew about Ebony and all that stuff, and I knew about R&B and all that stuff. But your Halle Berry wants us to believe that these images are so crucial. But again, it just shows us how deeply brainwashed she is by white supremacy. and how she really doesn't understand the impact of images and media on the black mind. And when I look at her in this interview talking about the things that she's experienced, it shows me that her mind is completely messed up as related to being black. And then I listened to another interview that your Halle Berry makes that showed me how completely lost your Halle Berry is. She sat there and talked about how there weren't any other black actresses to win Best Actress. And what she really, again, doesn't understand is the impact of white supremacy on the American media and the media overall. The only reason why those white supremacists in Hollywood gave her that Oscar was because they wanted to, one, give her a Oscar to participate in some symbolism as related to promoting so-called diversity by giving the biracial woman by the white mother a Best Actress Oscar, so they could give a black woman, a black asterisk woman, an Oscar. And two, they were giving her that Oscar because they wanted to push a narrative of bringing back the black Jezebel in the black community. Now, they tried to bring back this black Jezebel in the black community through rap music, like your Bees with Attitudes, your Little Kim, your Foxy Brown, and it wasn't catching on because the sisters out here were following behind Claire Huxtable, Khadijah James, and Joan Clayton, black independent professional women, and they wanted to go out here and mainstream the black Jezebel and bring her back to the forefront. And your Halle Berry participating in the film Monsters Ball allowed these white supremacists in Hollywood an opportunity to not only bring back the black Jezebel, but mainstream the black Jezebel. And your Halle Berry, she's sitting there wondering why there hasn't been another black actress to win Best Actress. Well, the white supremacists got the narrative that they wanted from her winning that Oscar. They got their symbolism to promote their false diversity narrative, and now they've gotten their mainstreaming of the black Jezebel, so they have no incentive to give another black actress an Academy Award for Best Actress. Moreover, most of these studios, if somebody like myself writes a script that features a strong black female lead, what they will do is go out here and buy said script, and then they will go hire another writer to rewrite said script and then cast a white actress in it. And I went in detail about this in my screenplay All About Marilyn, where I show how a black screenwriter writes a script, pitches it, and then a couple of years later, the same script and same production are featuring a white female lead. So your Halle Berry is sitting there wondering, oh, why haven't any black actresses won Best Actress since her 20 years ago? And again, that is by design because the white supremacist does not want a black woman elevated to the same level he elevates the white woman. Unfortunately, because your Halle Berry grew up in a home with a white mother who doesn't really understand white supremacy and racism, she doesn't really get this message because it's never been taught to her. And again, she's thinking that the world is supposedly fair, but people who grow up in black households, we know that the world is not fair because we're taught from day one, if we have a good, educated, self-aware mother and a self-aware father, about the concepts of white supremacy, and we're taught about how white supremacy shapes the black mind. Because when I was writing my first novel, ISIS, I didn't really understand the concept of white supremacy that well, but as I grew older, I began to understand that was the thing that led to the ISIS character snapping and murdering all of those Ku Klux Klansmen. In the climax of the story, when she comes to the revelation, that was the climax of the flashback, and she comes to that revelation because it was white supremacy just having such a devastating effect on her mind that it led, after she saw her family getting murdered, it led to her murdering these Ku Klux Klansmen. So your Halle Berry really does not understand how white supremacy does psychological damage to people's minds, and she's thinking that, oh, seeing these images were crucial, but what you've been deprived of is black media. And this is something that that's why new black media is so important, because new black media not only presents young brothers and sisters with positive images of black people, like I publish in the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, presenting you with balanced images of black men and women. It also allows you to have your mind shaped with balanced pictures of black men and women, because much of this media out here, a lot of it is detrimental to the black mind, and if you imbibe too much of it, you will wind up lost, like your Halle Berry and many other generations who have wound up imbibing this media, thinking these images of black people in media are crucial, but they are only crucial to white supremacy because they allow them to be able to manipulate the black mind and have people headed down a dark road where they either wind up in prison, like many black men do, dead, like many black men wind up, or many women wind up single mothers, or on a road to thinking that you are less than, because in much of that media, they make you think like you're less than, they make you think that you're second best, they make you think that you're number two, and that's why you don't get to see many black women seen as number one, like Halle Berry is wondering, oh, why haven't we seen another black woman elevated to the best actress level? Well, white supremacy does not want you to see a black woman elevated to that level. And the reason why they don't want you to see a black woman elevated to that level is because they have that place reserved for the white woman, and they want you to see the white woman as number one, and they want you to see the black woman as not number two, because that's reserved for the Asian woman, and the Hispanic woman is number three, the Arab woman is number four, the African woman is number five, and way down at 999,999,999,000 is the black woman, and that's where white supremacy wants her to be. And your Halle Berry has never been taught this because, again, she's been raised in a home with a white mother, and that white mother taught her white supremacy. And when you're taught white supremacy, you're taught, oh, you're just like a white person. But sadly, Halle doesn't understand white supremacy has no place for black people but the bottom. And the only way for you to see your value as a black woman is to go out here and support new black media, because new black media will teach you the truth about black women and teach you the truth about black women, and teach you to love yourself as a black woman. Because you're Halle Berry thinking that, oh, seeing black actresses in Hollywood is crucial. No, seeing images of black mothers is crucial. Seeing black people is crucial. And learning the truth about black culture is crucial, because that's how you shape a sister's mind, so that she can understand the tenets of the old African proverb, a race can rise no higher than the moral position of its women, and as the woman goes, so goes the race. And once you understand that principle, you won't be as lost as Halle Berry still is at 54 years old right now. If you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive fiction featuring images of black women, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the novel The Thetas, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, Spellbound, The Legendary Mad Matilda, and Spinsterella, you can pick up all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find some of them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.